What's going on, everybody? Today is a day I always look forward to. It's my local card show day. Now, Sacramento, the greater Sacramento area, has a handful of shows over the course of the year. And then the Bay Area, which is about an hour or so from me, has a handful of shows. But the Sacramento show, our home show, I really like. In fact, on the way to the show today, I was talking to my dad about, I'm really excited for this show. I really like this show. And he totally agreed. It's free admission. It's indoors in a ballroom of a hotel. It's got nice carpeting. It's comfortable. So really excited for the show. Now, I didn't do a pre-walking in video because it was gusty, rainy, windy today, and it just was kind of miserable outside. So I'm home. I'm back from the show, and I wanted to show you because there was some pretty cool stuff out there today. There were a few cards in particular that I'm super excited to show you that I think were really fun to see. I made a couple of purchases, nothing big. I've been on a buying tear, and in my December pickups video, you saw all the stuff that I bought. So I'm trying to recover from that a little bit, but I did have a couple of pickups. My dad had a really nice pickup. I'll show you what he bought today. Ran into a bunch of people. Thank you to everybody who came up and said hello. It's always fun to get to talk to people. Again, if you ever see me at a card show, please don't hesitate to come up and say hello. It's a lot of fun to meet you and talk to people and just kind of make more friendly faces in the community. Now, I got another cool letter in the mail the other day from Adam. He's super nice. He reached out and he said, hey, I've got a numbered Matt Manning rookie card. This one's out of 199. It's a Bowman. It's out of 199. He goes, if you're interested, you can have it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm interested. So he sent it to me. So that was cool. And then he sent me his sticker as well. So appreciate that, Adam. Very cool. You guys continue to be too good to me. Also, before we look into the footage for the show, just a reminder, if you're interested in having your pickups from December included in the Midlife Community pickup episode, please, down below in the description, I will again include the link to the Google form where you can put in some information and you can upload a picture of your favorite pickup or two. Again, please just try to limit it to 1 or 2 pickups that were your favorite from the month of December. And please don't hesitate to do it. My deadline is going to be Friday. So we just have about, 6 or so days until Friday to get those pickups turned in. And then I'm going to start putting together the video. And I can tell you this, I've already been peeking to see some of the stuff that was submitted, and there are some awesome cards. All right, let's take a look at my day at the Sacramento Card Show. Again, ran into a lot of you, and some of these cards today are pretty darn awesome. Let's check it out.
All right, so I went over to my friend Jeff's table. I introduced you to Jeff when I interviewed a dealer about Whatnot. That was Jeff. And so he was at the show, and he's got such a wide variety. He got some beautiful 56 Topps cards on the right and some basketball at the bottom left. He had a couple of things in his case today that I had to show you guys. You can see a bunch of mantles across the top of the screen there. And then, got a 58 Koufax and a bunch of Mays in there. He's always good about having lots of Mays and mantle stuff.
Are you going to go down to Burbank in February?
And then this case was nuts. Look at that Dobie Hires root beer with the tab attached. Then he's got that 48 leaf Spawn that I love so much on the left of your screen there. And, he's got some 52 Topps. His case, he brought some stuff out today that I hadn't seen him bring out before, and there were some beauties. So check out these 1958 Hires root beer. This is a Larry Dobie with the tab attached. And it's a pretty good grade, and he sent them in fairly recently. Got them back not all that long ago. And then he also had this mantle postcard, perforated, but it's got the whole panel attached, which I don't see that very often. You see postcards from time to time, but the panel attached is not something you see very often.
There are people that do the complete set.
And then he's got a couple more of the Hires root beer with the tabs attached. And, they're like, I think they were graded 5s.
Wow, these
And
are
yeah, I mean, they were absolutely beautiful. It's just not something that is usually something you'd run into at your local card show. So I had to show you guys these. Super excited to see him. He bought them in a collection not all that long ago. He buys a fair amount of collections, but this Dobie was really, really beautiful. And it's so cool. So I had to show you that one. And then I also was like, I got to show you this Spawn up close. So the 48 Spawn. The color on this thing is spectacular. It's a little OC side to side. And there's a little bit of a mark kind of at the bottom of the card, but I don't know. Assigning this one a 2 from PSA, it seems really harsh. I mean, to me, that's a better looking card than that. So I kept on moving along, and this guy had a bunch of autographs and memorabilia stuff. In the case here, you can see even more. He had some balls as well that were signed. So then I went over to my guy Mitch. I love Mitch. Mitch is from Southern California. I've seen him a couple of times at shows. I've gotten to know him. A great guy. And so he just has stacks of awesome stuff. So I started digging through this. I'm like, oh, yeah, Ty Cobb, T206. Again, not the kind of stuff you see at your average local card show. But he had picked up a ton of pre-war stuff since the last time I saw him. Or at least he brought it out, and he doesn't usually. You've got, Bull Durham, and you got the Chief Bender there. And you got the Mordecai Brown. Beautiful cards. So he has these T206s going. There's a Harry Davis. I've got one of those. And then the portrait Mordecai Brown. That's a beautiful card. And I just kept digging through his stacks and stacks and stacks. My dad found this 57 Topps Clemente in a 3. I don't know how they assigned this a 3 because it was a beautiful card. And Mitch was asking 200, and my dad ended up picking it up for 170, which I thought was a great deal.
I like it, but
so then I started going through the T205s. I love that Chance there, the Bresnahan on the top. I love this set.
yeah, there's lots.
I only have one card from it. I actually have a Mordecai Brown from this set.
Yeah,
But, yeah, it's... I've mentioned before how I like the National League ones better because they're a little bit of a tighter shot of the players.
have you?
And then these guys, 1913 National Game cards. He has a Connie Mack on top. He's got a Trish Speaker. And he's got a Joe Tinker. I mean, these things are awesome, and they're pretty high grade. Now, they're fairly durable cards, so they do hold up a little bit better than some, but still, we're talking about a card over 100 years old. And, in 4s and 5s, and those were beautiful. I loved checking those out.
So nice to me.
He's got some T207s. Well, one. And then they were hiding a couple of Cracker Jacks. He got an Eddie Collins Cracker Jack and a 1.5. And that's a really nice looking 1.5 to me of Eddie Collins. He's like number 10 or 11 on the all-time hit list. And that's a beautiful Cracker Jack card. I'd love to pick up one of those. I'd love to pick up his at some day, but wasn't going to be today. I've been spending too much money. I was pretty tight with my wallet today because of all the money I've spent recently. And then you got the American Caramel cards. I love these things. I don't have any of these yet. I have bid on a couple before. Haven't gotten them. But the 1922 American Caramels are just gorgeous cards. I have them saved on my eBay search list. And then we got some 33 Goudies. Those, I love those always. It's a nice Sam Rice. And then right next to it, I mean, look at this. Just look at the eye candy just above in the. You can see at the top of the screen there. I'm just like, I could have spent 2 hours with Mitch. I actually probably spent close to 2 hours with Mitch, if I'm being honest, now that I think about it. Plus, he's such a great guy. He's just fun to talk to and, hang out. So as I keep going through this, now I'm in the 1950 Bowmans. You got the Jackie on top. You got a Robin Robertson, a Rizzuto, and a Spawn. I mean, and then he had boxes and boxes. There's a Gil Hodges. He's got boxes and boxes of ungraded as well. Most of which are commons, but there are Hall of Famers in there.
He's more of a Bay Area.
Later on, I came back and took a look at those. You can see those in a few minutes. And then we're looking at the 38 Goudy
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
heads-up cards. And, man, look at these. You got the Jimmy Fox. You've got... Wait until the last one at the bottom.
That's the best Northern California show.
Keep on going. And we're obviously having a great time talking as I'm going through these.
Well, that was, but the Fairfield.
But wait, just hold on. Hold on. It's not the DiMaggio. I know a lot of you are thinking, oh, is it a DiMaggio? It's not the DiMaggio, but wait. Almost there. Yes, the Bob Feller. Beautiful Bob Feller in a 2.5. Got the PWCC marking there. I mean, that is a gorgeous card. Absolutely beautiful. And then he had some play balls next to it. And I spent more time. I didn't go through every single card. I'm not going to show you every single one, but I went through most of them. Got the Jimmy Fox here in my hand, and that's a high grade for that card. And I went back to this stack because, it's one of those things where you go to a local card show, you don't expect to see some cards like this, and then you're like, well... if I buy them local, I don't have to pay sales tax. I don't have to pay shipping. I don't have to wait for it. It's in front of me. So a couple of these were really, the Connie Mac and the Trish Speaker were really, my wheels were spinning pretty hard on those. But then I kept reminding myself, Greg, you've spent like $2,500 in the last 35 days. You can't buy one. But I kept digging. She's got the 53 Bowman Color Stan Musial and a 5. Man, that thing is beautiful. Look at the centering on it.
Oh, yeah.
That is such an awesome card. That and the 52 Bowman Musial are my two favorite Musial cards.
100%.
Love that card. And then next to he's got a big old stack of 53 tops. And you can see on top he's got a Jackie Robinson. You could see the Satchel Paige in there. So we started talking about this Jackie Robinson that got an authentic. It's got a little tiny, you can hardly even see it in the black. Apparently when he sent it in, he didn't know it, he didn't see it. It had a little tiny bit of color added in the black, and they got it. And so it got an authentic, but it's a beautiful card. And he ended up selling this card today. I don't know who he sold it to, because I was hanging out at his table so long. Seems like I would have seen him sell it, but I didn't. But he ended up selling that one, which good for him, because that's a great card.
You're a good guy for doing that, because some people don't.
And then I keep looking through the 53 tops, and then there's the Satchel in a 2. Obviously a very recognizable, iconic card. And then that Jim Gilliam. And that one's in a 6.
That's a really cool card.
I did a video not that long ago. I asked everybody, what is the most beautiful card of all time? And a whole bunch of people had different cards. And I think the Satchel Paige was on the list. But somebody said that Jim Gilliam card. And, now every time I see it, I'm like, that is up there. It is a beautiful card. He looks so young. I love the Brooklyn hat on. And that one's a 6.
I mean,
That's a big card. I really like that card a lot.
they look like glass.
So I kept on digging through his pile. I kept digging through his piles. I'm here for a while. Now I'm in the 63s. He's got the Koufax on top. Got the Yastrzemski. Another Yastrzemski. Started talking to a few people. It was a lot of fun. A lot of people came up and said hello today. I really appreciate that. Again, if you ever see me at a show, don't hesitate. It's fun to hang out and meet people and have familiar faces at future shows. So thank you for coming up for those of you that did. And then this
I
one,
had girls, so now
a 71 Bob Gibson in a 7. And man, and then this card. This card. So we most Clemente fans would say that this is his prettiest card, and it's hard to argue. And that 3, he was asking $100, and it is a 3. And then there's a Dusty Baker. My dad was looking at the Dusty Baker. My dad went to high school with Dusty Baker. They used to sit in the same social group at lunch and stuff. So my dad was thinking about that Dusty Baker
really
card.
nice one. I don't know
But
how
that
it's
Clemente was a card that was big time on my radar. Again, he was asking 100, but it was a nice looking card. So then I went over to the guys at True Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're putting on a show soon. You can see that up in the left-hand corner. I'll talk a little bit about that as I'm going through these cards. But their show that's coming up in the Sacramento, Rockland area in May is already got confirmed Ricky Henderson as a signer and Dennis Rodman. Those are a couple big signers. So look that up if you are interested in attending that show. And this case is great because, you've got 49 Bowmans there. You got T206 there. You got 59, 71, 60s. Whenever you have these kind of catch-all boxes, you just really never know what you're going to see. So I'm just kind of flipping through, not necessarily expecting to see something that I would buy, but it's fun looking through them because you never know. And so I kept on kind of digging. At one point, my dad came up next to me and was kind of looking at some cards next to me. I think he ended up buying something. There's a Garvey rookie. And so I'm just still flipping through, and then all of a sudden, I look up, and there's a card that I've wanted for a long time that shows up in the pile. And I'm like, huh. So you'll see here in a minute. I mean, literally, that's the beauty of this. Is you never know what card is going to pop up when you're going through a box like this. I mean, there's all sorts of good stuff in here, right? Again, a lot of 49 Bowmans, a lot of T206s. A lot of 71 tops, a lot of 59 tops in here. There are a lot of 70 tops. So we're spanning multiple decades here in these boxes. And so there's a Clemente, another Clemente, another Clemente, another Clemente. Those were a little bit rough, but that one wasn't. That one I took a little bit of a look at. The 68 All-Star is pretty nice. So as I kept on going through them, I'm like, and then boom, look at that. That's the 53 Bowman Color Worn Spawn that I love. I mean, I love the card, and I've wanted this card for a while. And he's asking $65. So I'm like, all right, let's set that aside. Let's take a closer look at it. So I pull it out, and I'm like, all right, let's get a real good look at this, because the centering side to side is great. Top to bottom was off a little. And I don't need a high grade. You guys know me. I don't need a high grade copy of anything. I just want a nice looking one. And this one has pretty good color. Side to side centering's not bad. The corners are very soft. So then I take it out to see if there are any wrinkles or creases. And there was. From about the bill of his cap to the side of the card, there was a crease. And I mean, I don't mind a crease if everything else is great. But this one had a crease and had super soft corners. And the top to bottom centering was less than ideal. And so I started looking up some comps just to get an idea, like if I were to buy this on eBay, what would it cost, kind of thing. And it was kind of around that $50 mark, which actually surprised me. I would have thought it would have been more. And so they were asking 65. So then I was like, well, maybe I'll just offer them like 45 or $50. But then I was like, that's a lot off the sticker, and I don't know. So then I decided to kind of think on it and go, well, maybe I'll come back for it. So then I was kind of looking over, deciding, do I want to make an offer? Because I don't want to make an offer that's going to offend anyone. So I just decided to think on it. So I decided to make a walk. And as I'm taking my lap, I didn't have my camera going, but I snagged 3 cards. So these are action-packed. I don't know if you remember the action-packed. I have a Jerry Rice action-packed that's actually signed on the back on that white panel on the bottom. He was signing those at a card show when I was, well, I don't know, what would this be, at about 1990 or so. And so I picked up the Barry Sanders for $1. And then I grabbed a couple of Wayne Gretzky cards. So this is an O-Pee-Chee record breaker card. And I mean, I thought it had pretty darn good eye appeal. Centering's great. Cool card. And, you know, when you're talking about hockey, it's fun to get the O-Pee-Chee. So I grabbed that one. So I did this in this card and then the next card in kind of like a bulk deal. I'll tell you about here in a second. So then the other card was this one. Now this was a second-year All-Star card. And that black kind of thing that looks like a oval, usually in the tops has that. And it's usually rubbed off because underneath it has his name. But this one's not rubbed off. So it's kind of unusual to find them. Well, not super unusual. That right there is usually scratched off with like a coin or something. But the centering is great. The eye appeal is great. So you can see the comps here. So I thought that was a good deal. I got both of those 2 cards for $20.
I don't have a lot to sell, though.
So both of the Gretzky's was 20.
But I'm doing it.
And they kind of comp the second-year All-Star at about, 20 or 25. So I was pretty happy with that deal. And then I went back over to Mitch as I was still thinking on that Spawn, but I was also thinking on his Clemente. So I'm going through some 33 Goudies here. You got that nice card there. Sam Rice again. And I was thinking on that one. I actually have a Sam Rice autograph, believe it or not, just on an index card, though. And I've kind of wanted one of his cards to just go with the autograph, but I just kept on looking. Again, spending more than $100 total today was going to make me kind of a little bit sketched because of how much I've been spending. So I'm just like, I'm still looking. So I'm looking through his case of his football stuff here. He ended up selling a couple minutes later that Elway and Marino rookie. Again, I'm back at Mitch's table. And a Singletary rookie, which is pretty nice for a pretty good deal, I thought. An Eric Dickerson rookie there. So then I started looking through his 50. So I told you he had some nice raw stuff. He's got a really nice Spawn, nice Pee Wee Reese. I mean, these would get pretty decent grades. A nice Robin Roberts, Ralph Kiner, Campanella. I mean, that's a pretty sharp Campanella. That's a little bit of a softer Snyder. So he had a lot of the Hall of Famers in the front there. And then some of the commons and minor stars of the 50s. But it's really nice to just go through a box of raw, nice-looking raw stuff. If you're a set builder and you see Mitch at a show, you got to be happy because he's got really nice raw stuff. And so, he's still got that 71 Clemente that I was looking at earlier. Then that one's in my think tank up with the 53 Bowman color Spawn. So I start going through some of his 51s. The 50 and 51 Bowmans are 2 of my favorite sets. So we got the Mize up there. Got a nice early win. You got this. This was a really nice looking Dobie. And I gave that one actually a thought. I have one already. But I mean, I felt like it was a fair price for the quality of the card. It's got pretty good centering, really good image, clean surface. And the corners are a little bit soft. But I mean, I think it's probably like a 3 or a 4 for $100. And then got the Stengel there. All us Yankee fans love Casey Stengel. And so, you know, again, the 50 and 51 Bowmans, those are two of my favorite sets. So whenever I see a stack of ungraded stuff from those sets, I pretty much always go through it. And then the fact that Mitch sprinkles in, you know, Hall of Famers, because he doesn't just grade everything. He's pretty selective about what he grades. Most of the cards that you saw in his case earlier that were graded, well, he bought graded. So he does grade some stuff, but he's got a lot of good stuff that he doesn't grade. And so it's kind of fun to go through just because it doesn't happen that often. So again, the 50 and 51 Bowmans, I'm always going to go through those, especially as nice as Mitch's are. And again, the whole time I'm still kind of thinking on that Clemente. And that's an expensive Clemente, so like I can't really afford like a 6 or a 7 or anything like that. So if I'm ever going to get one, it's going to be a 3 or a 4, maybe a 5. And that was a pretty nice 3. So literally that's where my head's at as I'm looking through these. So I'm kind of I'm looking at these and I'm enjoying them, but at the same time my wheels are turning on, do I want to do that Clemente and do I want to do that Spawn? So Mitch hands me the Clemente again. He goes, you know what, Greg? I like you. You're a good guy. What if I sell it to you for 80? And I'm like, oh, man. Oh, I should do this. I really should do this. I don't know if you'd do that deal for anyone. We did it for me, and I didn't do it. And now I'm like, why didn't I do that? He's such a great guy. We had a great time.